and welcome, gang. It's Deltia from DeltiasGaming.com, back with a quick build update for the Battery ESO Healing Imperial City. I am inside the White Gold Tower. I've finished pretty much all the hardest content in the game. Here's the proof as the healer, and I want to make sure you guys know exactly what it is I'm doing. So if you want to look at this, I've beaten the White Gold Tower speed run, done pretty much all of the new content except for the no deaths. That's the only thing left I have to do. So I've beaten hard mode, blah blah blah. The Templar Healer is still the most powerful healer. I don't care if people argue with me, it is strong. Strong with the you know what. Well, this is going to be the update real quick on what I'm doing for update 7 in healing, what gear you should go after, and what gear you can use to get all the content done. Let's get started. Here we are, gang, in lovely Cragworm with this new beautiful looking Zithkin light armor with an achievement that gives me that nice crisp looking gold color that you can find in the bottom of Imperial City sewers. No spoilers here, folks. This is the battery healing build, which I'm going to go over briefly. I have tons and tons of gameplay on this already in store, so I don't want to do that so much, but just tell you what I found most useful in this patch for healing. And honestly, it just hasn't changed that much. It really has not. I still use a restoration staff here. I still double bar Inner Light, the Mage's Guild ability. Gives you your major spell critical, which is really, really important, plus max magic. As a magic user, DPS, or healer, you just have to have this on your bar almost. Now PvP not so much because you don't need the critical fighting against other players, but PvE it's just a must-have. Plus, merely slotting this on your bar increases your magic as well. Gotta have it. Now on the restoration bar, I chose Restoring Light Repentance. I like this because in an oh crap situation, I don't have to bar swap to use Repentance. Though my other bar is dual wield with swords for more max spell power, and you could get more healing with Repentance on it, but in a tight situation, I like it on my restoration bar because I can constantly do heavy attacks on that restoration staff and get some magic back. If you haven't played update 7 yet, or you're on consoles waiting for it, resource management has changed. A lot of the regeneration has gone down. I don't know if that was on purpose or not, but it's going to be harder to manage resources. So using a restoration staff heavy attacking is a must. Third ability up, I consider very, very powerful and underrated, which is Combat Prayer. It gives minor resistance, but really gives the minor increased damage, 8%. That is huge, 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 huge. Increase attacking damage by 8%. That lasts 8 seconds, which isn't too long of a time, but guess what? If you use this at the beginning of a fight, you use meteors, you can really rock down an enemy very, very quick. Plus, it actually does crit heal for quite a bit as well. Once again, it's in front of you. I highly suggest watching the Kaija Thorn Pit My Build Part 2 and 3, which I explained this in detail. So, this is the one ability that I use. Now, if you're running with Nightblades, they do have the same buff. You can also get the same minor buff from using a Storm Atronach and using the synergy. So know your group composition. If it's a very, very mobile fight, don't use this because you're not going to be able to sprinkle them with DPS dust all the time. There's a lot of different abilities I swap in and out based on what I'm running. And so this is considered my flex spot right here. An example would be the light armor ability, Harness Magic. It gives me a nice ward for against spell damage for 20 seconds, turning it into magic. For instance, the Imperial Prison Final Boss Lord Warden on hard mode, this is almost a must-have due to the amount of spell damage he inflicts on you. So if you want to know about all the sidebar abilities, check out my website where I have them listed. Next up, Restoring Light and Channel Focus. It's a must-have. It is a must-have. Costs nothing, you get magic back, and it gives you major physical and spell resistance. That is a lot. It lasts a long time, but if you step out of it, you still get 8 seconds of recovery. So I cast this at the beginning of a fight all the time, even if I'm moving into it. So if the fight's going on right there, I'll cast this and literally just walk out of it. Because you're going to need to stay mobile. Remember the 8-second timer down there below. If you do stay in it the whole time, great, but keep it up all the time. It's really, really hard not to run into magic with this thing up. That's a big problem I see other Templars run into. Breath of Life. The best heal in the game, bar none, period, the end. This thing heals like a truck. If everything is buffed up and I have everything going, I put a Purifying Ritual down just to do it, I can get 30,000 heals on the main priority target. It is that powerful, still very powerful, still very useful. I have it, I have a double barred. Double bar, keep this build simple. It's very, very simple, but yet very, very effective. You can do it too. If I can beat the content, you guys sure as heck can. Solar Prison. Ultimate that reduces damage, does a ton of damage, and has a massive synergy. People underrate just how powerful this synergy is. I've seen people crit this synergy Gravity Crush for 20,000 damage. Make sure the DPS are using it, not the tank, because it scales off of your stats. So DPS, if you're not clicking this, that's a waste of a big, massive synergy. And it will do a lot of damage plus stun enemies, which is just as important as anything else. So I love this. And for a burn phase, I enjoy it as well. I don't swap this out. My back bar ultimate, and I'm using dual wield, I do swap out. So I have Remembrance Healer. It's a really cheap ultimate that I tell players to use if they're running out of magic often. Because you get 4 seconds of the duration, enough time to regenerate some decent amount of magic, and pretty much no one's going to die when this thing is in there. Remembrance. Now, if you're fortunate enough to have Alliance rank 6, think about running Replenishing Barrier. This gives you a major ward covering all over your health bar, giving you magic and ultimate back. The nice thing about this is it lasts a long time, it has a 12-meter radius, and it's mobile. Mobility, mobility, mobility. Sometimes when you use your Remembrance, you can't just sit there and clap heal everything. You have to be on the move. Replenishing Barrier is great for that, giving you an incentive to PvP and get that leveled up. So why do I go with dual swords? People ask me this constantly. It's just because it gives you more spell power. So if you look at my stats here, without a spell power buff up, I'm at almost 3,000 unbuffed spell damage. If I switch to Restoration Staff, look how much I lost. I can't do math, you guys can. That's a lot. So, dual wield is where it's at. Dual wield, notice I'm only using one Restoration Staff ability, so I can sit here and do breath. That's a 21,000 Breath of Life without a spell power thing up. I mean, come on, that's incredible. That's why I use dual wield. Now, I see people running this build, they'll be doing light attacks left, right, and center. Don't light attack. There's no reason. Just use your abilities. When you need resources, swap back to your Restoration Staff, then light attack. But don't be swinging Chuck Norris style out here. It does no good for you. And first ability up, besides Inner Light that we double bar, is Purifying Light. I go back and forth depending on the situation, but Purifying Light is awesome now in this patch. Stores up energy, does a ton of damage, and when an effect and a pool of sunlight remains attached to the enemy for 7.2 seconds. That's important. Attached to the enemy. So it used to be this really little circle that essentially no one stood in and you couldn't really find it. Well, now if you keep this up, it's a damage ability, yet it heals everyone around there. So you're playing with melee friendlies and friendly DPS. This might be enough to heal them throughout the boss fight, allowing you to do DPS. More DPS you do, the faster everything goes down. Easier the fight is. Third ability up, Radiant Oppression. The finisher, Jesus Beam, as it's commonly referred to as. This has taken a nerf. If you read it, target below 50% health, take up to 330 additional damage. Don't use this at 100%. It does no good. Use it at or around 25% of the boss's health or an enemy. That's where you want to use this to make it optimal. And also, if you're doing a Jesus Beam channel, make sure everyone's at full health. If you run into the good old Jesus Beam channel lock, that I see a lot of healers do, animation cancel to break it. So for instance, what happens is, I'll put Puncturing Sweeps on here. A lot of healers will use this 1, 2, 3 second channel, and meanwhile everyone's dying in their group. As soon as you use the ability, let's say Bobby over there stands in a red pile of poop and taking tons of damage. Hit that block button, boom, Breath of Life. You gotta know when to channel and when not to. If you make a mistake, break it with a block, go into heal mode. It's gonna take practice, People will die when you're trying to learn this, but it's a useful skill to learn. So, once again, Radiant, 3-second duration, you can break it with a block and go back to healing. Adric's Spear ability up is Blazing Spear. And people constantly ask me, Deltia, why do you not take Luminous? Luminous Shards does give magic. That's fine and dandy, it's great. But the amount of AoE damage you can do, even as a healer, is astounding. It also does great single target damage. Plus you still get the stamina pickup on the spear, making it a must-have. My Peeler build is a lot, it's a lot of damage, because the people that you play with, once you get comfortable, once they learn the content, the less damage they take, the more you can do DPS. If you're spec'd out with 15 different heals and hots and dots and blah, and hot dogs running on everyone, it's not going to be as effective as just straight burst healing with Breath of Life. Trust me, I've done the content. Keep it simple. Double bar Breath of Life. Throw out spears when you need to. A Purifying Light. Keep that up for extra damage and decent healing. You can get really risky and use Puncturing Sweeps instead and get right up in the fight, but I've had mixed results with that. So realistically, using this build, I mean, you're just going to buff people. You're going to buff yourself. You're going to use corpses with Repentance, Breath of Life when needed, and you're going to stay on this bar a lot of the times. You're going to be throwing spears. You're going to be Purifying Light, going back to Combat Prayer. Essentially, don't stand still. Don't do nothing. Don't do nothing. That's a double negative. Well, what I mean is, I see a lot of healers that will just sit there. Everyone's at 100% health. Well, what do? Do something. Do a heavy attack. Put your channel focus down. Has everyone got Combat Prayer recently? Okay, do damage. Spear spam. Go into spear spam mode. And if you do it like this, notice, if someone takes damage, block. Block cancel that thing and get back to healing. Because I see a lot of Templars that will just sit there and, oh, this is so much fun. I love the spear spam. Oh, best day of my life. Little do they know, someone's at 10% health. Don't do the lockjaw spear spam thing. Trust me, break the habit. People will die, you'll learn it. Next up is gear, and why I chose Engine Guardian. People are probably like, why did he choose Engine Guardian? Healer build. Let me talk about what I'm using healing-wise, because this gear rocks, looks clean. Gear, let's do it. For those of you that don't read patch notes every single day of your life like I do, check out this set. Kagranak's Hope. It was used in the past, but it has got a massive buff. Notice I'm using the VR15 set because the VR16 takes so long to get. Though, if you're looking for best in slot, do wait until VR16. What it does, max magic, magic recovery, and health. Now that fourth bonus, health, is actually somewhat decent for us because I recommend running about 20 to 22,000 health in this patch. Yes, I've beaten some of the content with 18, 17k, but it's significantly harder and unforgiving if you miss a block. So until you're used to it, run higher health. So that fourth thing helps. Look at the fifth bonus. Increase spell damage by 224. That's almost as much as Torag's pack. And it's a healer set. Decreases resurrection time by 20% and gives you magic. The 25% res speed along with the passive here in the Templar, where is it? Increases resurrection speed by 20 stacks. Essentially, rezzing someone becomes a non-issue. In this patch, people are going to die. They will die. And you need something that gives you a benefit. So I like to use this, especially if you have an off healer in your group or even a stam user running Vigor. You can wait at least 1 or 2 seconds, get the guy up, and you don't wipe your group. This is an utter game changer, and it's not a huge DPS or healing loss because you get that massive spell damage. The nice thing about this is not a drop. This has been in the game. In the Fighters Guild, after you beat the main story, you get up. You can go to this place and craft this gear set. It does take 8 traits, so it's pretty hard to get. If you don't have access to this, Magnus would be a good set. Seducers if you're struggling with magic. I highly recommend giving this a try. Super powerful. Okay, Engine Guardian. You guys know it. Engine Guardian, Summer's a little droid dude, gives you health, stamina, or magicka. You don't get to choose. Why did I use it? I'm telling you, gang, in this patch, mobility is key. You're going to be sprinting. You're going to be dodge rolling. You're going to be CC breaking. You're going to be getting beat on. You're going to have to block. Stamina and the ability to proc stamina and or even just healing you is fantastic. Not to mention, when those droids die, like you saw earlier, you can use them as a free heal repentance. Gang, I almost get 9,000 heals on these little droid bodies. So like right here, let's say I get my buffs up, my spell damage, combat prayer. Look at that. Come here, you. Let's see how much we can heal for just this little guy here. All right, thank you. Here we go. 4K, of course, that was unimpressive when it didn't crit. But even 4K giving it to everyone and stamina adds up. Think about it. It's really, really good. If you don't want to go this route, you can always change. And I see a lot of healers that go the max stamina, or max spell power, or magic route, and if that works for them, great. Mobility, it matters. You'll find out. Next up is the willpower set. Super, super rare. People are buying this left, right, and center for outrageous cost. You want to go with the arcane trait. I don't have it yet, but you want to get that. 3 pieces. And this adds so much magic and spell power. The VR16 allows you to enchant with a massive 174 spell power per. Gang, it's worth it. Trust me. This investment will make your character perform much, much higher level. Okay, so that's what I did, and I don't use Master Restoration Staff. A VR16 crafted is actually more spell damage than a Master Staff, making pretty much Master Weapons useless in this patch. Sorry, Zos, it's true. And then I went back with the good old Torg's Pack Staff. I don't even enchant it since I don't do the Swing Monster 3000. Don't be the swing guy. Don't do it. It's not baseball. Don't swing. Only use it for when you're on this thing. And that's basically the gear setup. So, what can you do if you don't want to run this? Another really helpful gear setup that I like to run and that has gotten me through pretty much everything as well, since I've run it multiple times, is a 5-piece healer set and then a 5-piece Kragernax. That right there is still good enough to do all the content in the game. Nice thing about the healer set is it has more magic recovery, increased healing done by 8%. That's actually quite a significant bit, and if you're having trouble with just magic sustain, think about switching this out. And that's the gear. Cannot tell you how powerful Kragernax Hope, I'm sure I screwed the saying up, is. It's definitely a must-have. Let's talk about CP next. For the champion points, I like to do a 50-50 split in the green tree, the thief. Yes, I have over 600 champion points, so I'm sitting very, very nice. I go 100 in magician, 100 in arcanist. I don't do anything else. Now, depending on your race, if you're a high elf, you're probably going to get more benefit putting some in arcanist. If you're a Breton, you might get more benefit for putting the magician, or vice versa. I don't know. I chose Dunmer. Not the best healer race at all, which we're getting to healers in a second. So basically just do a 50-50 split. If you're doing just PvE, Magician is probably the better thing to put it in. So that's just my 2 cents. Now you want to go high, high, high into Blessed. If you're doing straight just healing, go Blessed and Elfborn. Increases healing dealt by spell criticals by 13.2% and increases the effectiveness of any healing you cast by 25%. Yeah, that stacked on top of the healer set, stacked on top of about 3,400 spell damage, you gonna heal like a truck. Now, I do go over here and do a lot in the Thaumaturge. Reason being is damage matters, and I still like to do tons of damage. So this increases my magic damage. Yes, Radiant Oppression, Blazing Spear, Puncturing Sweeps, pretty much everything we do gets pumped up by this. But if you're just starting out, focus on Blessed and Spell Critical. Blessed, Elfborn, focus there. If you play this game every day way too much and you have a lot of champion points, go Thaumaturge. Next up, for the really, really hard boss fights, I respec CP constantly. Some bosses do a lot of flame, frost, and shock damage, hence White Gold Tower. Some bosses do a lot of magic damage, hence the prison. Poison, disease, magic damage. So depending on what I'm going up against, I'll spec into elemental or hardy. Thick Skinned is nice and handy because it does reduce damage over time effects, but the Field Physician 15-point passive, reduced damage received while rezzing, that's huge, especially with Kragernax. Absorb 10,000 damage for 5 seconds after you resurrect a player. That's huge. So you're not going to take a whole lot of damage. You're going to get a nice bubble, and then you're going to increase another player's magic recovery by 641. So when they get popped up, they're going to be right back in the fight. So usually what I do is I take out the thick skin, and I'll drop it here in a quick recovery or the bastion. I'm not using heavy armor. I'm not going to use potions. Now this will actually help if we use barrier. The bastion. Quick recovery, it's going to be easier to heal ourselves. Get to that 75% mark. It matters. So let's go ahead and drop the bastion down a little bit. And we're going to pump up elemental defender to get unchained. That is champion points. Okay, before I leave this video, guys, I have tons and tons of gameplay on this. Tons of gameplay. So watch the Kaija Thor and pimp my build. Watch my Twitch stream. I play this often. I don't even really believe that this is like the most, I don't know, achieved thing, if you want to call it that way, character I've ever had. This guy right here, I mean, I've completed the hardest stuff in the game right away, and it's pretty cool that I can do it on a Dunmer. So, you guys are going to ask me 15,000 racial questions, and that's a really good thing to ask. What is the best race for healer? I really think still Breton makes the best healer. Breton gets reduced magic cost, spell resistance, which is huge. That reduced magic and max magic is nice. Next up, we have High Elf. High Elf gets recovery, and they also get max magic, plus more damage. So if you wanted to go pure healer, Breton. If you wanted some flexibility with damage, High Elf. And third option, if you're in the EP and you can't pick anything else, Dunmer. I'm a Dunmer. Now you get max stamina and magic. You only get 9% versus like 10. But the flame resistance actually is beneficial. Flame damage doesn't really do a whole lot because that's only for vampires being a reflective light. So that's kind of a non-factor. But the max magic you're not missing out a whole lot on. So Dunmer isn't the worst thing in the world. And just realize, gang, I've done some of the hardest content in the game before anyone else, and I'm not the best race in my character. You guys can do it too. Play what you like. I simply picked a Dunmer on this Templar because I kind of liked being the badass elf. Not gonna lie, that's why I picked it. No mid-maxing thing, no, just picked it like that. So pick what you like. Also, I'm not a werewolf or a vampire. I don't see a purpose for it in this build. If I did do PvP a lot, I probably would go vampire for mist form, and also bats, but I just don't see a use for it. Attribute points, and you're gonna ask me about that, and let me eat my food so you can see my buff stats. Eat my food and I'm going to use a potion. Because you notice I'm not using Entropy, the spell power potion. And you'll notice why. These new potions now, if you have the 3 points of medicinal use, alchemy, will actually last longer than the buff falls off. So, you know, potion cooldown is 45 seconds, right? I've said it in a million different videos. Medicinal use, you've heard it. Well, now the VR15 high big boy potions will last 47 seconds. Yes, it's an expensive way to heal, but I'm going to be sucking down potions anyways, so it allows me to free up one spot on my bar. If you don't want to do that, you're going to need Entropy. Okay, and then also buy stat food is what I want. This is the VR15, almost 5,400. We look at my stats. I go all magic. I keep it simple. And you'll notice I have very, very low health. Gang, I don't recommend doing that unless you're very, very comfortable with healing. Until you get comfortable with it, it's going to be hard. So keep your magic here. Keep it there. All you need to do to change to get more health is swap out your jewelry with a healthy trait and or swap out a health glyph on your armor. Because you notice my armor is all magic. Infuse magic, infuse magic. If I just swap out here one magic to 2 health, I'm right at 20,000, 22,000 where I need to be. So don't get too concerned about attribute points. They don't really matter that much. Go just swap out other things to worry about that. I have low magic recovery and I don't really need a whole lot because I'm using the restoration staff, using channel focus, and I can maintain my magic just fine. The Apprentice Mundus Stone. Okay, so there's a couple options you can use with Mundus Stone. This is more spell power. Remember, I'm more damage focused in this patch. And I like Apprentice for the max spell damage. And let's see, what's my, I got a potion up. So on my dual wield bar with that 3,500 spell damage. And I can also get the minor buff if I use a Dawn's Wrath ability here. There you go. I can't target this? Oh, well, that was fail. Come here, you. Why can't I target you? Can I bash this guy? Oh, bash kills him. Anyways, you'll get 5% more on that. Do the math. I can't. I'm not very good at math. But 3,500, gang. That's a lot of spell damage. That's a lot. And my tip to you is, if you're going to do anything as far as upgrading your gear in this patch, do your weapons and your jewelry. That's where the big gains get. If you save up for the VR16 stuff, you know, you can get way more out of it, but it takes so much to get. So much mats to get. There's also a really good set called Spell Power Cure. There's a critical spell healing set that I just don't have. And it takes so long to get those drops, as the drops are very infrequent. I've farmed probably 20 hours worth and still have yet to get a 5 full set piece completed. So there's a lot more veteran mode, hard mode, Molagkina, and Lord Warden dungeons to come, including some dungeon diving with this guy to show you exactly how it is I use it. But I will say, a lot has changed in Update 7, but a lot hasn't. You're still going to like the class that you like. Play what you like. I get a lot of questions. Delta, what about a Stam Nightblade? What about a Magic Nightblade? Gang, if you like it, play it. I like my Templar Omega Healer / the Battery. Just change it to what fits you. Change it to what it does. Go offensive, go defensive. Flex things in and out. If I'm in a highly mobile fight, I'll use Barrier. If I'm taking a lot of magic damage, I'm using Hardness Magic. I mean, you saw me on stream today, if you watched, I fought Lord Warden and I was using Quick Cloak for more AoE damage reduction and speed. Things constantly change. This is the base build. Take it and make it what you want. And it will change over time. But right now, I will say, I do have the coolest gear. Look at that. I mean, come on, that's beautiful. Style points, anyone? Thank you so much for watching. Gang, yes, I'm working on the Nightblades next. I will be working on my Dragon Knight. I know, I really appreciate you guys' feedback, and I will be working on it. I got something cool in store for the Nightblade. Magic Umbra is doing a lot more damage than I suspected, so I want to get that gang tricked out. Also, Stamina Nightblade DPS, I might just skip it because the bow is still pretty effective, and just go straight into a medium armor dodge tank. I tell you about it the other day, and it was fantastic. So stay tuned for that. Tons more builds. Update 7. It is a blast. Thank you so much for watching.